All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is right around 5 p.m. West Coast time. I'm going to call it 2 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on that there East Coast, and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. I am Mad Statter. This is Chatter with Statter. And, yeah, welcome in. It looks like we've got a couple folks coming in with that raid that Terry in Scotland just came in on. Thank you so much, Terry, for 43 years of subscriptions. What? All right, DJ Smook, I'm assuming maybe came in on that raid with Pinnell and, of course, Terry himself. Darlene is here saying aloha to the Chatter crew, and Mama Sean holding down that YouTube side just as the usual. Did I say 43 years? I meant 43 months. Well, yeah, here we go. Pinnell saying aloha to the kitty kitties. They are in the backyard, covered with grass pollen. Every time they come in, a new allergy blossoming blooms and explodes on my face. And when it explodes my face, it ruins my brain. That's why I said 43 years instead of 43 months. You guys, if you thought last live stream was a tough one, this one's even tougher. I'm more stupid. I'm more dumber. I'm dumber than stupid. I'm allergy ridden. I'm on all the drugs. Oh, you want to know the drugs? I'll tell you the drugs in a minute. But before we start talking about drugs, why don't we get the party started? All right, here we are. Let's see here. We have got Darlene coming in with, you might be allergy ridden, but you aren't stupid. Very, very sweet of you to say, but when you are allergy ridden, sometimes your brain gets a little stupid. Or maybe not your brain. Could be that your brain is just fine. My brain, on the other hand, people think that they get so drowsy and stupid from the drugs that they take for allergies. Stuff like Benadryl. But actually, no, if I don't take the Benadryl, that is what makes me stupid, because when my head is full of gunk and stuff, it just doesn't know how to work right. So what I like to do, and I'm definitely not telling any of you to do this, because apparently it horrifies people when I tell them that this is what I do, but this is what I do, okay? Okay, so we've already covered this. We have 1 pill of Benadryl. We have 1 pill of nasal decongestion, PE, otherwise known as very generic Sudafed. Just 1. So we've got a Benadryl and a Sudafed, 1 of each. Wait, what? Yeah, that's called my allergy speedball. One of them brings you down, one of them brings you up. One of them calms the head fog, one of them sucks up the nastiness of the stupidness. Then we've got our generic Flonase, because I want to be able to breathe. And then, oh, but wait, I'm not done. We've got this beautiful, beautiful eye drop called Pataday. And those help with the burning and itching, stinging eyes. When I tell you I am on all the drugs, I mean to tell you I am on all of the drugs. Now, I do not want anybody else to do as I say, or do as I do, or whatever. Don't do this. Unless you're experienced with all these, don't do this. Don't do this, okay? It works really well, but apparently the idea of mixing a Benadryl with a Sudafed terrifies people enough that they just don't want to do it. So if you're terrified, then don't. But if you're intrigued, well, it works. It does. Okay. It works. It does work. And yeah, allergies are super, super harsh this year. And let's see here. Terry in Scotland, James McBurdy's song Choctaw Bingo starts with strap them kids in, give them a little Benadryl. I'm assuming that means to put them to sleep, which, if you're not used to taking Benadryl, is exactly what happens. You generally go to sleep. But in order to combat that, you see, I use the Sudafed, generic Sudafed. Now, oddly enough, this isn't locked up in my state anymore. It used to be locked up. You still have to show your ID to buy it, but it's not locked up anymore. So I don't know. Maybe there's less meth heads now. I'm really not sure why. It is not locked up anymore, but I can tell you that I'm very happy that it's not locked up. Maybe Sudafed was never locked up in your guys' states. Do you know what I'm talking about with the whole you have to sign paperwork to get, is this just a Washington thing? But you have to like sign paperwork in order to get the Sudafeds. And I know you could just be like, well, why don't you take Zyrtec or why don't you take whateverness? Because that stuff doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. And maybe I'm not taking it right because I've been told, well, you have to build up and you have to take it for like a week before and blah, 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 blah. Dude, I don't do that because my allergies aren't all the time. My allergies are usually just like a 2-week span. So I don't even know if I'm going to get allergies until the allergies punch me in the face, because that's exactly what they do. They punch me in the face. And then I gotta wipe my nose real classy like that. And then, so I need them to act immediately. And Patel, you stopped taking your allergy pills because they weren't working anymore. Yeah, I don't think like Claritin, Zyrtec, all that stuff, it doesn't really work for me. And so one Benadryl, one Sudafed generally works. I just recently found out about these eye things, which if you have eyes, if you have eyes, well, okay, if you have eyes, if your eyes are bothered by allergies, this stuff called Pataday, I don't know what it is. You're only supposed to use it like twice a day in your eyes or whatever. I only usually need to use it once a day during allergy season. Really, really helpful. And then my little Flonase, I don't know whether or not this actually does anything, but it makes me feel better using it. This one I think is all psychological. But these two I can promise actually do something. And you can't take Sudafed for it interferes with your blood pressure meds. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to take Sudafed either for probably that reason. But yeah, I'm only taking it for a couple weeks, so famous last words, right? Yeah, there we go. And all that stuff is locked up over here. You need a prescription for painkillers that Americans buy at Walmart. Oh yeah, totally, you guys. Check this out. This Motrin, let's see here. I think I got another. I have so many random. Okay, I'm a liar. I'm totally lying right now. But yeah, this is prescription in the UK. So what we take here in the United States, like we can take a handful of these every day without the doctor's orders. I mean, we're not supposed to, but we could if we wanted to. And yeah, no, you can't do that in the UK. The UK, Motrin is probably harder to get in the UK than codeine is here. From what I understand, I have a couple friends who live in England now and that aren't on this stream. And I know them from roller derby. And they were really surprised at how often acetaminophen, a.k.a. Tylenol, a.k.a. paracetamol, what is it called in England and in the UK? Paracetamol, something. Anyway, acetaminophen. They still use acetaminophen for every paracetamol. They use that for everything. And the ironic thing is there is absolutely no scientific proof that acetaminophen does anything at all in regards to pain medicines. They know that it does help. It's a fever reducer. They do know that. But beyond that, there's actually been no scientific studies ever done on acetaminophen that proves it's an effective painkiller. It's all based anecdotally, and they're starting to realize the more the more studies they do on acetaminophen, the more they're realizing, yeah, this stuff doesn't really do a whole lot. It's a whole lot of the placebo effect is what's going on with the placebo effect. The placebo effect is the placebo effect is the placebo effect. But there haven't been enough long-term, like, real acceptable double-blind, blah, 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 double-blind studies to actually prove this. But they're starting to, with the research that's coming in, they're starting to realize acetaminophen might not be so awesome, might really not do much for anything anymore. and use willow bark for pain now. Yeah, and that's obviously where aspirin came from. Of course, some folks are totally allergic to that active ingredient that is in the willow bark and or the aspirin. So don't use that stuff if you're allergic. But for sure, might as well go back to the original, willow bark, rather than, basically, or aspirin, than this fake acetaminophen, or real acetaminophen, I guess. It's just fake. And yes, Bacola T, welcome in. Good to see you. This is an allergy-ridden day, and I warned everybody I'm on drugs. And you know what? I'm probably going to get banned. You know what? I just realized, oh, geez. I might be breaking YouTube community standards by saying this. Like I guess maybe because I'm not like monetized on YouTube, but I know that it's not good to talk about drugs like within the first like 30 seconds of your stream. And so far for like the first 15 minutes, I think I've said the phrase I'm on drugs like 87 times. But so to make this 88, yes, we are talking Bacola T, Benadryl Queen right here. Benadryl and Sudafed together is my magic potion. Benadryl, Sudafed. In my eyes, I'm wearing the Pataday drops, and up my nose, I'm wearing the Flonase. And I am not sponsored by any of these people. In fact, I dare say you should not do what I've just done. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And Bacola T knows. Apparently, Benadryl is what you got to do at times. And my best guess is Bacola T has probably taken Benadryl often enough that she no longer falls asleep on it. Which is great to a degree because you don't fall asleep anymore. But it's also bad because clearly you've built up a tolerance. But hey, whatever. And Terry in Scotland, good grief, I must be coked to the gills. No, Terry, I wish I could be, but I couldn't do cocaine if I wanted to. Oh, maybe I could up this one. But no, there's no coke. There's no getting coke anywhere in my system in the traditional ways. And I only would do it in the traditional ways anyway. So no, there's squirt, squirt, squirt. It's got nowhere to go. And just so you know, I have only had one of these pills, I think. Let's see here. Yes, one pill. Look. Okay, these are empty. Okay, no, wait. That's empty and that's empty. And then this is the one. Okay, these have no pills in them, I mean. There's no blisters. This one I've taken, and then these are all the rest. So, I've only taken one of these. That's not to say I won't be taking more later, but right now, this is where I'm at. And Bacola T, I take a Zyrtec daily every day. Otherwise, I'm a rashy, sneezing, weepy mess. Right. See, you, unfortunately, have way worse allergies than I do because it sounds like they're chronic. Luckily for me, why am I saying these words? I'm jinxing myself. Luckily for me, these are just seasonal, and it's generally during the late May, early June time period, like exactly this time period. It's totally the grass season. And so once this gets over with, I should be clean and sober from my allergy meds. Notice I said my allergy meds because, I still drink my PBRs, but I don't have a PBR can here, so I can't show you. It's way too early to be drinking a PBR anyway. It's not too early, though. You know what it's not too early for? It's not too early for a pamplemousse. And Darlene, you're singing the song out loud. You've got to get some relief when you're suffering. So short term, you've got to use what works. Absolutely. I couldn't get out of bed. Well, actually, I had to get out of bed this morning. But the moment I woke up and went to the bathroom and then sat back down on my bed to figure out what I was going to do, all I wanted to do was just lay back down and go to sleep. but I couldn't lay back down and go to sleep because I just felt like, I just felt crummy because I'm full of allergies, and you feel crummy when you're full of allergies. But I couldn't lay back down to go to sleep because I couldn't breathe. My face was just one big old runny, clogged mess. So went and then I did all my drugs, and it took over an hour for those meds to finally kick in. So I'm thinking I might need a backup, because yesterday did not take an hour. Yesterday it only took a minute or so, or like I'd say probably 20 minutes for my stuff to clear up. Today is not in a good thing. And as for me, I haven't heard out of anyone at the NHS. Hope they haven't forgotten about me. Well, Terry, I thought that you had an appointment on Friday, so maybe I don't know how your system works, but I thought you had an appointment on Friday, so maybe they're just going to talk to you about stuff on Friday? Or were you waiting to get a confirmation about your appointment on Friday? Or did they say they were going to call you before Friday? Because for me, with my stupid, ineffective health insurance, if you've got an appointment, they're just gonna wait to the appointment to talk to you. Like they don't reach out. Look, I'm a little cynical about my health insurance, so I don't mean to push it onto you. No, that was me. I went to the hospital last Friday and was waiting for a call. Yeah, but I thought on Sunday when we talked... Okay, first off, today's Wednesday, right? So the last stream would have been Sunday. So I thought on Sunday you said something about next Friday? Well... Okay, you should probably call them. I mean, if they said that, I'm thinking since my next ordeal qualifies as a surgery, it will require a letter from the urologist. So, okay, all right, I am so confused. You don't have an appointment this coming Friday? No, you said nothing about this Friday. Well, Terry, in the world that I live in, you sure did. All right, our shared reality is not what I thought it was. I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just wondering, well, why did I think that? I think that I think that you should listen to Mitchie Mama. I think you should probably call them and find out, like, what are my next steps? What is going on here? What do I do? Because, yeah, don't leave me hanging, doctors. This is not something that I want the sunset on very many times. No. And hey, Mitchie Mama, good to see you. But for real though, Terry, for real, give them a call. No news is not always good news in this particular case. And, I don't really know if I want to get into this or not, but I guess I'm on the verge, so I'm going to do it. My mom had cancer a couple times, and the second time she was diagnosed with cancer, she went in for a test, and she never heard back. So she was pretty stoked because not hearing back was good news, right? No, actually it wasn't. Her file fell behind someone's desk. And so, like 8 weeks after the test, when my sister and I were like, dude, where's the results? And then we finally pressed the doctor's office for the results. They couldn't find the results. And then eventually they found the results, which was behind someone's desk. And as it turns out, the file was on the desk because it was a phone call that urgently needed to be made because the cancer had come back. You see. So 8 weeks into no news must be good news, we finally get the news that, 8 weeks ago, we really should have been dealing with the news. And now we've just lost 8 weeks. Because we thought no news was good news. So, no news is not always good news. So, go get your news, baby doll. Go get your news. Yeah, Mitchie Mama, my mom's cancer was, in retrospect, it was a comedy of errors, and only a comedy in retrospect, obviously. But, yeah, everything really that could have gone wrong kind of did in a lot of ways. But that was the cherry on top. And yeah, that was a cherry on top. So yeah, for sure, Terry, I really, we encourage you here to be your own advocate, as difficult as that is. And, shoot, get mean if you have to, although I don't think you're going to have to. But just like, yeah, definitely make that phone call. All right. So now that I'm busy telling y'all how to live your life and how not to live your life, you would think I'm sponsored, but I'm not. But speaking of sponsorships, you might have just noticed a Restream bot came popping through on there. We're not going to talk about it too much today because I don't have much to talk about. But I have started a new sponsorship with Factor. And so I will be eating some Factor meals. They're going to be delivered on Sunday, apparently. That's weird. They'll be delivered on Sunday. And so next Wednesday, I will probably have a little review / thing about Factor meals. Factor meals are meals that apparently are meant to be microwaved, but some of them can be put in the oven. I don't know which ones I've ordered because they don't really tell you when you order which is what, but that's okay because at my workplace, I have a microwave, and generally I always struggle to figure out what I'm going to eat at work. So if nothing else, Factor will be good lunches for me to bring to the office. And they're not frozen, but you can put them in the freezer if you don't use them in time. And this NHS has nonviolent notices posted everywhere. If you shout at them, they will drop you. Oh, right, of course. Well, okay, then don't get mean. Just get insistent. Very insistent. And Mitchie Mama, you'd think that the person who had to make that call would have thought a few days later, hey, did I make that call to X? I tend to remember things like that when I'm in the shower. Absolutely. But here's the deal, Mitchie Mama. That person went on vacation. That person went on vacation for a couple weeks. So, like I said, comedy of errors. If it could have gone wrong, it did. And yes, they might have made that thought and had that thought, but they also might not have. I don't know. Doesn't really matter now. That happened in 2000 and no, that happened in the 1900s after all. It's a long time ago, 1900s. And by the way, Terry in Scotland, let me just clarify something here. The NHS has nonviolent notices posted everywhere. If you shout at them, they will drop you. What happens when the NHS drops you? Like, for real, what happens? Like, you can no longer ever go to the doctor again? Like, what? I don't understand how... I understand how insurance companies can drop you in the United States, and generally you might get on a blacklist, and generally you might not be able to get insurance with other companies either, but you can at least go shopping for insurance with other companies, and then ultimately you can always just pay for it yourself with no insurance, but... Oh, you have to go to a private practice. Okay, aren't there private practices where you have to pay everything out of pocket? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the health system works in the UK, hence my question. And so Okay, so then I guess my next question, and I'm sure no one will have this answer because why would you unless you've been dropped by NHS or unless you're super rich? How much more expensive, like, is it? How much is it? And they're just as expensive as in the States. Okay, they're that I mean, because it's like in the United States, it doesn't have to be that expensive, but but they choose to. Well, they don't choose to. It becomes that expensive because the insurance company needs to inflate the price in order to get a cut of the action. Insurance companies are basically nothing but gambling on your health. And then when finally their gambling debts need to be paid based on all of the money that I've given the house, i.e. the insurance company, the house sure doesn't like to give it up very well. And they sure as heck don't, make it difficult because it's so expensive, whatever it is they're paying for. Why is it so expensive? Because it has to be expensive. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to charge what they charge in order to take your money to begin with. And yeah, I know that was a little bit of a soapbox, but you know what? Mitchie Mama and I are on the same page. I can't wait until we can tell insurance companies to shove it. Yeah, I am completely unimpressed with my insurance company. So much so that I actually am literally cutting off my nose to spite my face. Okay, not literally, but I have a medication due that requires it requires me going in and getting my blood pressure taken in order to get my blood pressure medications re-upped. And I'm so angry at my doctor and insurance company right now that I'm not going to do it. I haven't done it and I'm not going to. They can, if they're so worried about my blood pressure, just keep re-upping it, dude. Screw you. Go away. I cannot stand my doctor. I cannot stand anything about my care team. They have done everything wrong. I absolutely cannot stand them. So cutting off my nose to spite my face. Yeah, I'm actually doing that right now because, I hate my insurance company because I'm stupid, because I'm really very short-sighted, but that's just how I am. So there you go. And I don't think there are private practices here, says Pinnell. If government tries to get them, they get petitions and protests galore. Yeah, I definitely have heard about that, Pinnell, up in Canada, but the UK, I'm so blatantly ignorant about. And Mr. P probably wants to keep this mum, but when he had major surgery years ago, the bill was 6 figures. Exactly. Fortunately, we have insurance. We were only on the book for 4 figures. Still crazy expensive, but now I understand how folks can end up houseless and due to medical debt. Well, shoot, gosh darn, heck fork. We just opened this up to something that I saw last night, and I thought it was hysterical, but we're going to talk about it. So check this out, y'all. Every time I pass this billboard, by the way, the billboard says 20% of people with a gambling problem file for bankruptcy. Every time I pass this billboard, I laugh because someone with a gambling problem is going to take 80-20 odds all day long, my friend. Yeah. So, gambling problem. 20% of the people with a gambling problem file for bankruptcy. Okay, that's cool. Here's the deal. I had to look it up. Well, what about the regular population? What's the average regular population? How much is the regular population? And, the regular population, let's see here. Hold on. The regular population, let's see here. It says 12% of people in the United States, roughly, file for bankruptcy. 20% of people with gambling problem files for bankruptcy. So what? We're looking at an 8% difference. So 8% extra percentage points for a gambler. But now that we're wondering, like, what is the deal, dude? Okay, that's cool. Bankruptcies in the U.S. have declined. That's cool. And then right after the 2009, 2008 economic collapse, a shirt ton of folks were filing for bankruptcy. But what is it? What is it that mostly causes bankruptcies, y'all? Is it gambling? Is it gambling in the United States that causes bankruptcies? Is it poor money management that causes people to file for bankruptcy? Is it? Really? Because it looks like 46% of bankruptcies are related to medical bills. And by the way, those people are probably insured. Really, guys? Really? Insuring us against what? How are you helping? How are you helping? Explain to me. I know you guys can't. Unless there's an insurance company mole, in which case I want you to reveal yourselves and tell me how you can do it. How you can do it. But yeah. And I'm sure there's an overlap in those figures. Well, quite possibly. There's definitely some statistical cleanliness and the like that needs to be acknowledged in those stats. You know, have they been modified for the mean and taken into the flipping account of the statistical variance with the variables of the I never took a statistics class. I don't know the vernacular, but I do know that numbers like that can be misleading. But what I also know is 46% of the people who filed for bankruptcy in the United States had some sort of medical issue in the background or medical bill in the background. And that, my friends, is problematic. That's why Americans never know if they have enough money, one devastating illness away from a bankruptcy. Precisely. And I'll tell you what, man, bankruptcies suck. I've been through a bankruptcy, and my bankruptcy was very minor, very, very minor, but it literally made the difference between being able to keep my house or not. And luckily I was able to keep my house. And it's worked out so far in the long run, but it's expensive to file for bankruptcy. Because here's the deal. The lawyers that you need to file for bankruptcy, they know you ain't got no money. So you've got to save up the $1,200, $1,500, $2,500 to get the lawyer retainer. Because they're not going to let you put that on the credit card that you're going to then file for bankruptcy on. That's not good. That ain't how that works. That's called fraud. And a lawyer ain't going to be a party to that. So... yeah, so, there you go. And that's why Lady Amanda Molokai got $1 million settlement over the car hitting a cow, just medical bills for her boyfriend, used it all. Exactly, yeah. Hey, Trail Dust. No, you didn't come in at a joyous time. We were talking about, we were talking about gambling, and then we were talking about insurance companies. And then once we started talking about insurance companies, all heck broke loose. And actually, Terry, you know what? I had a huge sense of moral failure and shame when I filed for my bankruptcy. But I actually talked myself down from that because it was right at the time when he was running for president the first time. And I was like, you know what, man? If someone who's trying to run our country can file for bankruptcy 4 flipping times and have no shame about it, and his were way bigger bankruptcies than mine. Mine were so tiny that it's just like, And I know insurance is gambling, Trail Dust. That was actually sort of how we got onto the topic of insurance, because we were talking about gambling and everything. And okay, 6 times, not 4 times. Fine. Okay, even more so. I talked myself out of the shame spiral because I was like, look, man, if he can do it, I do not need to feel bad about my $21,000 worth of bankruptcy bills that I'm writing off. Okay, I mean, it's such a little drop in the bucket of bankruptcy filings. Even though it was the tiniest little drop in the bucket of bankruptcy filings, that judge, he wasn't about to play. Oh, he made me feel bad. He made me feel guilty. He made me feel like I was playing the system. And it's just like, no, I think that my Citibank credit card charging me 28% is playing my system. I have paid for my goods time and time again. It's all just imaginary interest that we're running out of, right? This is imaginary money at this point. And so So yeah, I did not like that federal judges, because by the way, you guys, it's when you file for bankruptcy, you're going to federal court. I don't know if you've all have been to court before. I don't know if you've been to a criminal trial. I don't know if you've been to a traffic court. I don't know what courts you've been to. I've been to a couple different courts for various and assorted reasons, and I'll tell you what, the most intimidating court I have ever been to was the federal court to file my bankruptcy. There is something about walking into a room where half the wall is taken up by the seal of the United States, staring you in the face. That eagle don't play, and that judge, he plays even less. No. Yeah. And your Prime Minister of Canada ran the Bank of Canada and England. And wait, hold on. Let's all go bankrupt and run for office. How about we just go bankrupt? And let's see here. As a child, we as was forewarned not to sign anything when helping out, to say especially with a parent. This way you could not be held responsible for the medical costs, especially once they pass on after debilitating disease. Yeah, for certain. And let's see here. Pacola T, it's sad that nonprofits such as Undo Medical Debt even exist in this country, so help folks get free for medical bills they can't afford. Yep. And let's see here. Right, so hey there, Mr. and Mrs. Aloha Friday. Good to see you. And I am loving your support, even if you can't type. Even if you can't type because you're driving. And Verity Hunt, usury wasn't 30% considered loan sharking. I believe that might be the threshold in a lot of state usury laws. I don't know particularly for the state of Washington, but I do know that credit cards can run up to 28 and 29%, which says to me that, yeah, you know what? I think you're onto something. 30% might be that magic number, which is why most credit cards, the most expensive ones, never seem to go above that 29%, right? I don't know if you're right, Verity, but that absolutely makes total sense. That absolutely makes sense. That it would be 30%. And so they're just under the line of breaking the law, right? So yeah, that's, so I don't necessarily feel so bad about telling Bank of America and, Chase and Citibank, like, oh, so sad, you're not going to get your payment this month. For a little while, though, I did feel very bad about it. Very, very bad about it. But then, and Mr. and Mrs. Aloha Friday, eat the rich. Okay, not just listening. Love you all. Okay, I totally used to agree with you, Mr. and Mrs. Aloha Friday, about eating the rich, but now we need to think smarter. We need to plan better. We don't just eat the rich, we also compost them, right? Because there's only so much meat that you can get off of a rich person. But maybe if we composted them, we could create a community garden to feed more people. We need to plan ahead. We need to use our resources wisely. If we're going to, eat the rich, if we've got a dozen rich, we'll eat the one, but we need to compost the 11. Right? Isn't that how that works? And Verity said, do not feel bad at all. Exactly. And let's see here. You get your Social Security payments from Citibank in Dublin. Don't stiff them. They've already been stiffed, my friend. If you're still getting your payments, then clearly my 20,000, which actually 20,000 wasn't even all to one person, it was divided amongst three, it's not going to hurt nobody. Because it was a drop in the barrel of bankruptcies that year. But I'm telling you, man, that bankruptcy judge, he's just tired of looking at poor people every day trying to get out from under their debts. And he was not playing. He was a very mean judge. He didn't like him at all. And I know that's just so... He was really mean and I didn't like him. He was mean. I didn't like him. He scared me. And he really scared me. And Pacola T, it disgusts me to know that corporations and insurers do just enough that they can to get away with it without technically breaking the law. Yeah, that's exactly it. And right, yeah, Terry, exactly. But the big banks are just barely skimming along. with how many billions of profits every year and how many fines, how many millions of fines is it? I can't remember. I read one day about how many fines Bank of America collected, like in, I'm going to just say 2023, but it was in like the $3.46 billion worth of overdraft fees alone. Now, I don't even remember if it was billions or millions. Frankly, it doesn't matter. Let's just underguess and say it was 3.6 million. Let's just say, I'm sure it was higher, but let's just say it was 3.6 million in overdraft fees that Bank of America collected in 2023. Do you know what that really is? $3.6 million taken from people who already had no money in their accounts. Poor people. $3.6 million taken from people who already can't afford to pay their bills because they accidentally bounced a check. $3.6 million taken from people who are living paycheck to paycheck because they can't afford to pay rent and buy food. Awesome, dude. I'm glad you're getting profits off of that, Bank of America. Way to brag, right? And like how many businesses like hospitals hide behind nonprofit status? Oh, you mean like the churches that own all the hospitals as well? That's a huge problem as well. And yeah, exactly. Big banks here are really rich. They brag about it, says Pinnell. Yeah, exactly. And I know Schadenfreude and that judge, absolutely. And let's see here. All those banks you mentioned will start sending your stuff in the mail for a new credit card too, so don't feel bad. Oh, absolutely they will. In fact, my bankruptcy has since passed, and you better believe they're giving me offers for credit cards right and left all the time. That's right. All right, so today we've got 2 Lono listening breaks. First off, we're going to do one Lono listening break that is just for Lono listening. Then we're going to do another Lono tune that's really, no. Then we're going to do, all right. We're going to do a Lono listening break. And then we're going to watch a news clip. And then we're going to have another Lono listening break. You'll see the logic in a minute. Okay, so here's the Lono listening break number 1. Boop.
Aloha, ka manini. Let's go. manini.
Alrighty, there we go. Ooh, I've got some reverbs. Hold on, let's fix this. We've got a couple issues actually, so let's get rid of the reverb. Let's put on some background music, and let's see here. Alright, so Mr. and Mrs. Love Friday. Oh god, no, not a news break. We just need to pipe Lono into a loudspeaker across the country. The whole world really needs Lono. No. This news break actually makes this is an okay news break. This is actually an okay news break. As soon as I find it. Oh, here we go. Okay, so for those of you who are not on the islands, this today, June 11th, is King Kamehameha Day. And so I'm assuming this weekend, perhaps last weekend, but I'm assuming this weekend, there's going to be some parades across the islands, etc., etc. But I grabbed this little news thing, news clip about the Kamehameha statues that are found throughout the world. And so I thought I would share that with you guys today. So this is a news break. It's an okay. This is an okay news break. In fact, this is probably the lightest topic we've hit on so far today. So here we go.
King Kamehameha Day is authentic. Kamakapili shares more about the iconic statue of King Kamehameha the Great.
In the Ahupua'a of Honolulu, which lies in the moku of Kona here on Oahu, stands a symbol of Hawaiian pride. We're speaking of King Kamehameha I's statue. What was originally proposed to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Captain Cook's arrival to Hawaii, an image of a 45-year-old King Kamehameha I was chosen as a monument promoting Hawaiian national pride. At a cost of $10,000, it was politician Walter Gibson, representing Lahaina, who had proposed the idea. Having been started in Boston and completed in Paris, the 7-foot-tall statue left Germany on a ship in August of 1880. 6 months later, word reached Hawaii that the ship went down off the coast of Falkland Islands, losing all of its cargo. Following the loss of the original statue, a second statue of King Kamehameha I was commissioned. But to the government's surprise, the original was recovered and arrived in Honolulu a couple months prior to its replacement. Today, there are 4. Modeled after the marble Roman sculpture of Augustus Caesar, King Kamehameha is shown as a, quote, Pacific hero. The replacement statue was installed first on Oahu in 1883 at its present location fronting Ali'iolani Hale. The recovered original statue was unveiled a couple months later in Kohala on Hawaii Island, as it is the king's birthplace. In 1969, following statehood, a statue of the father of the Hawaiian Kingdom was installed in the U.S. Capitol Statuary Hall. The final statue was installed in Hilo in 1997, which was originally for a hotel on Kauai, but the president said no because King Kamehameha I failed to conquer them. Did you know? Now you do.
All right, so there you go. That's the little histories about all those Kamehameha statues and how they got to be where they got to be. And I got to tell you, I am loving the fact that Kauai was like, no can like that. King never took us over. We don't be needing to put nothing on him on us. You go put that one elsewhere. He did not bring us in, and we will not claim being part of his union. We were not. Because for those of you who don't know, Kauai did not. When they say that King Kamehameha brought together all the islands, kind of sort of true-ish, but not Kauai. He never conquered Kauai. And I'm glad that Kauai was like, you can put that one elsewhere, okay? Because he's not, yeah, that's not us, okay? Now, nothing wrong with being conquered by King Kamehameha. I'm not dissing him or anything like that, but I do like the fact that the island that didn't get conquered wants everyone to remember, you see, we're too far away. It didn't work out for them the way they hoped. Now, in regards to what you know what? No, we're not gonna go. We're not gonna get sidetracked. We're gonna now go on with our second Lono listening break. This song is called Moe Boy, and Moe Boy is moe in Hawaii in Olelo, Hawaii is, well, it's two things. It's a fish or it's royalty. Now, the fish is called moe because it was only allowed to be eaten by royalty. But royalty or some other high makamaka ali'i type, you are moi, M-O-I. So, this particular Lono song is written about a guy on Molokai who insists, now, Brada's homeless. He's got like maybe 3 teeth all in his head. But he insists he's royalty, man. He is royalty. Even though it's not a good look for the royalty. Now, I don't necessarily think he's royalty, but I don't know. I don't know him. I don't think anybody else thinks he's royalty, but I don't know. What I do know is Lono wrote a song about him.
All right, Moe Boy, Molokai. Got some land over here, got some land over there. I'm my father's great-grandfather's only living heir. When those lawyers find me, things are gonna change. I'll be sitting up there with the governor herself, sipping on champagne. Cause I'm Moe Boy, Molokai. If I wasn't so Moe, you could look me in the eye. Go and check your genealogy, 'cause that's what you gotta do. You could be here sitting next to me. You could be Moe Boy, that's right, I'm Moe Boy, Molokai. If I wasn't so Moe, you could look me in the eye. Go and check your genealogy, 'cause that's what you gotta do. You could be here sitting next to me. You could be Moe too, that's right. You could be Moe. Boy.
All right, there you go, Moe Boy. As you can see, you know, check your genealogy. You could be Moe too. And Michimama troublemakers on Kauai, they also helped to kill the Super Fairy. That is true. They did help kill the Super Fairy. And I'm not at all surprised to learn that Kauai and Molokai are considered two islands that are a little bit troublesome. But you know, that's what happens when you're the least populated. You want to keep Kauai, keep Molokai. And okay, now I'm gonna get on a soapbox. Scroll way back up. We're talking about something that Denise didn't say anything because she's not here. I don't know who she is. That Darlene said, "Oh my God, they're locking up plants in the dumpster that they can't sell. They could sell, but they're choosing not to. And it's in a locked dumpster, and you will be fined." And first off, those are just plants. Okay? Why on earth would you need to make taking plants a criminal offense? But then again, I guess I would rather have plants stolen being the criminal offense than what other stores do, because prior to 2020 or so, there still is. There's a movement. It's called the Freegans. And they're basically people who go around dumpster diving and getting free food. And I know that sounds really gross, but the food that I'm talking about is food that's barely past expiration date, that's actually still in its packaging. Like, you might find a dumpster that's literally just full of wheat thins. Boxes and boxes of expired wheat thins. There's nothing wrong with them. It just says Best Buy, March 11th, and it's now March 13th. Well, you can't tell me that a Wheat Thin, that's 2 days after expiry is going to harm you at all. There's a good chance that you probably got Wheat Thins in your cupboard that have passed their expiration date, their Best Buy date. And sometimes some grocery stores are so angry at people taking the food that they're throwing away that they lock their dumpsters and will prosecute you if you steal from their dumpsters. And it's so, I mean, this is when capitalism becomes a crime to me, right? Like, you were throwing it away. I mean, legally speaking, anything that is in my garbage can is for the public. It's been ruled that if I am a meth maker, which I'm not, but let's just say I make meth in my house, and then I have all my meth ingredients that I put in my garbage can and rolled out to my curb to be collected by the garbage people. If the cops came and took my garbage, that would be totally permissible under the court of law. And it would prove, look, she's got all the ingredients to make meth. How did you get it? We took it out of her garbage. Totally legal. But you're telling me that it's illegal for me to go take food that's being thrown away so I can feed myself? That's messed up, man. But it's totally true. Darlene witnessed it with the plants, which to me is just asinine. I mean, honestly, I kind of feel like going to Milwaukee and going on a dumpster diving crime spree. Where's the cameras? Black paint them out and go steal all the rhododendrons they've got left in their bin. That's right. I'm an azalea thief. That bleeding heart? Oh yeah, I got what you need, baby. What you need. I got some azaleas. I got some bleeding. I know a guy who's got a rhododendron. Do you need a peach tree? I can do that. Miniature lemon tree? I got one of those in the back. I can make a call. I can get you the artichokes. I can get you a full-grown artichoke. I can get you an artichoke that's about ready to bloom. That's right, man. She's got to know me. I know what dumpsters to dive in. I can get you some azaleas. That prohibited English ivy that's so hard to find these days. I got the hook up on the ivy. Oh yeah. For real, dude. Do they really think that it's gonna feed a black market plant circuit or something? That's just ridiculous. And I can only assume it's Home Depot. You don't have to name it, Darlene, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it was Home Depot. I know, right, Shock? Anyone who wants some English ivy, yeah, I got the hookup. You know who my guy is for my English ivy? Me. I got the hookup on all the English ivy. You want variegated? You want full green? I got them both, baby. And Mr. A is a grocery store manager, and he said that they can donate food up to 30 days past Best Buy. People sue if they hurt themselves in the dumpster or get sick from the food. Well, I can appreciate that logic to a degree. But I still have a problem with it. I do. Although I do appreciate, the getting sick off the food is not what I'm as worried about as the suing in the dumpster, because that is probably something that actually has happened. Someone got into a dumpster, hurt themselves, and then sued the dumpster owner. I could see that happening. See, this is why we can't have nice things. No, not Home Depot. A place near called Myers Garden, part of their department store. Oh, it was a Myers. Oh, all right. Yep, not exactly surprised with that news either. But still, though, I don't know, man. Now, that is true, though. That is true that the stores can donate a certain amount past the, Best Buy day. And actually, I think it's the FDA. They're starting to, like ban, or they're starting, what am I trying to say? I read somewhere that some overseeing governmental body, I'm going to say the FDA, is trying to get the whole expiration date, Best Buy date thing changed. So the expiration dates when it's like, oh, this is unsafe for human consumption, those still will exist. But the whole, best if consumed before February 23rd, 1996, like those labels, they want to ban them so foods aren't wasted in that way. Because for the most part, seriously, fresh Cheetos might taste better than Cheetos that have been in a bag for 2 years. But Cheetos that have been in a bag for 2 years aren't going to kill you for being in the bag for 2 years. I mean, they might eventually kill you, but just as much as the fresh ones would. You know what I mean? Cheetos might kill you. That is true. But yeah, they're trying. Boy, I wish I knew what I was talking about. But I feel as though they're trying to change regulations on expiration dates to help prevent food waste. I have no doubt in my mind that if any new regulation is put into place, it'll probably create a whole new problem, because that's what happens. But I've heard that that's what's going on. And Darlene, but there's no expiration date on fresh veggie plants. They still could have been grown into food, especially for the needy community gardens. I know, right? I mean, I seriously, I don't know if I'm like part autistic or whatever, but there are some times when I hear news or I am trying to comprehend something and I need to like flap my hands, or like I have to stimulate myself not to go bloody flippin' ballistic, because it's the dumbest thing. I just, oh my God, Darlene, I am so on your page. I mean, just put them out in the back and let them die on their own, or let people take them. You don't even need to put them in the dumpster. But on a different note, hey, Carl in Arkansas, good to see you. We're talking about grocery stores and garden stores that put stuff that they've deemed not worthy of trying to sell anymore due to expiration dates, or just a plant got too big for their garden center, and then putting them in the dumpster and then locking the dumpster up and charging you with theft if you steal the stuff out of the dumpster. And I've got some German ivy out back that's trying to envelop my house. I have never heard of German ivy. How is that different than English ivy? Or did English ivy rebrand itself as German ivy because they wanted to? And let's see here. Terry, remember when the Reagans passed out leftover hors d'oeuvres out the White House? No, I do not. But if they really said let them eat hors d'oeuvres, You didn't. They didn't. They didn't. They did not, Terry. That's a lie. I mean, I'm not calling you a liar because I don't know whether or not that's a lie, but I am just rejecting your reality and replacing it with my own. That is a lie. Yes, they did, Terry in Scotland says. Wow. Do they not? People with that level of power really must forget what it's like to be the man on the street. Because even if they meant it funny, it's not funny coming from you. It's not funny. It's not funny. If they meant it ironically, that is just patently unflippin' funny. for the Reagans to say something like that, or for the Bushes to say something like that, or the Clintons, or the Obamas, or anybody in that with that level of power to say, let them eat hors d'oeuvres. Let them eat a bag of hamburgers from Spokane from a place called Dick's. How about that? For real though, that's actually for true. There's a place in Spokane, it's a drive-in, and they've got some of the best hamburgers, and you can buy a bag of 5. And you know what they advertise? Literally on their menu, buy a bag of Dick's. 5 hamburgers. So yeah, they can go buy a bag of Dick's. If you're gonna say let them eat hors d'oeuvres from the White House. Yeah, that's right. You just go eat some hamburgers there, Mr. Reagan. Let Nancy chew your food for you though before, because you probably forgot how. Oh wait, did I say that out loud? How much for a bag of Dick's? I want to say it's like $15 or something. I can't remember, but what I do know is when I had to write a check to the city of Spokane because I got in trouble with the law for smoking weed in a public area, like I always did in Seattle. But in Spokane, they told me that that's illegal, and in this city, we follow the letter of the law, unlike where you come from. And by the way, they did actually say that. So when I wrote my $100 check for paying my ticket, my infraction ticket for my public consumption of my weed, I wrote in the memo line, eat a bag of Dick's. And because that hamburger chain is in Spokane, I hoped that someone would get a really big laugh out of that, because I really meant it not the funny way. But since they have bags of Dick's at Dick's in Spokane, I'll tell you what, man, it gave me such satisfaction to write in that memo line, eat a bag of Dick's. It really did. In fact, I encourage y'all to go break the law in Spokane just a little bit, so you can write them a check and in the memo line say, eat a bag of Dick's. And let's see here, Picola T. I was so upset when Michelle's Veggie Gardens on WH grounds were removed and replaced with concrete. Oh, the White House grounds. And wasn't Jackie O's Rose Garden also part of that monstrosity? I was so angry about that. What Picola T is talking about is when not this presidency term, but previous presidency term, not Biden, the one before that. The First Lady thought that she would, improve the gardens by tearing up gardens and then covering them with concrete. I don't know much about the White House or its grounds, but the one thing that I did know about the White House and its grounds was the Rose Garden. They talked about the Rose Garden an awful lot at the White House. A lot of signings, a lot of events, a lot of things took place in the Rose Garden at the White House. Yeah. Have you heard about anything with the Rose Garden? Are we doing anything with the Rose Garden these days? How's the concrete looking? Is it coming in bloom? The concrete? Because, yeah, no more Rose Garden. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even know Jackie O had anything to do with the Rose Garden. And the fact that she did makes it even a little bit more like, what? Are you kidding me? We're not supposed to have kings, but she was as close as, what? She was royalty in a lot of Americans' eyes. Yeah. Yep. Not a good look. I mean, concrete is never a good look versus roses. Come on. But oh well. What's done is done. And, exactly. That rose garden was a part of the White House history for a number of years and a number of since before I was born, which I realize wasn't that long ago in the country's lifespan, but it was a minute ago. And so, yeah, I couldn't believe that she was allowed to, actually. And I know it's their house, they're allowed to do, I don't know. I couldn't believe they were allowed to do that. And hopefully the dandelions are breaking through the concrete now. Yeah, that would be awesome. And remember the Christmas trees? It looks like something from a Stephen King movie. Yeah, that was a nightmare that came to life. But, God, that was a nightmare that came to life. But it was temporary. Oh, God, it was awful. And also, though, to me, it really, I thought it was an interesting psychological peer into her soul. You know, it really just confirmed she is a cold-hearted woman. She is icy. She is an ice queen. She is just a stark, she doesn't care. Do you remember when she went to some I don't even remember what, a refugee camp or some place that really was not, I can't remember where she went, but the back of her army, fancy fake army jacket was, "Do I even care?" or "Why even care?" or whatever the heck it was. I mean, she doesn't care. She doesn't. And that she even had the audacity to mention it, let alone be allowed to do it. I know, exactly. And no, it didn't look anything holiday or Christmassy to me either. It was a stark nightmare. Yeah, it was her with her trench coat, and on the back it was written "Why do I even care? Do I even care?" or or "I don't even care." And Pakolchi, she is a fembot. I mean, she really, really is. And and exactly, Verity, you kind of have to be like this. Who cares? That was it. I mean, does any people critiqued Michelle Obama for wearing an off-the-rack, TJ Maxx dress or something, and how unclassy and awful that ape lady was for wearing such cheap clothes that the plebes that the plebes buy and wear every day. That caused, Obama's tan suit caused more controversy than that horrific statement. Whoever dressed her, yeah. It said, "I don't give a rat's ass to you." I don't think it said that. I mean, it did say that, Terry, but I don't think it said it quite in those words. But absolutely, that's what it looked like to me. That's what it looked like it said to me. And yeah, exactly. She has to be married to that man. And it is all about the money. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. And I understand why people look at me like I'm a weirdo when I say this, but I have an element of respect for gold diggers like Melania, who clearly does not like the gold she is married to, right? I couldn't do that. That is a skill that I just do not possess. And so I have to say, gold diggers do hold a skill that I do not have, and I have to, you can't tell me they don't work a little bit for their money, because it would take all of my mental energy not to kill him and then myself, or everyone and then myself, or I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I don't even, and he's got enough money to keep her happy. So and my budget isn't that expensive. I just couldn't It's a skill. They have a skill set I don't have. Absolutely, skill set I do not have. And yeah, and he has to be married to her, so they compliment each other. Yeah, you know what though? I have to say, one of my favorite parts of his presidency, was when he went to go take her hand while they were walking down somewhere. You know, all the media's on them. He went to go hold her hand, and she just yanked it away from him, like, "Don't you touch me." And all of the cameras got that. It was just like, oh, he's not... There was probably a yelling match. I'm sure he got very angry later on that night, because that made him look very bad. But, oh, it was good. It takes mad skills to be able to do that. And, let's see here. Wait, what did Terry say? Yeah, exactly. My eyes don't close that tight. Honestly, would any of you ladies allow... Oh, no. Oh, no. I wouldn't... No, I would not. No Trump fans here laughing. Well, to tell you the truth, Midnight Frequency Radio, there's been many years, almost my whole entire life, in fact, of people inhabiting that house that I don't like. Even Obama did stuff that I mean, he might have been the best of the best, but that doesn't mean he was good. I have yet to actually really be stoked on a president. So I would, people think that I'm all left wing or whatever. And it's like, oh, you want me to bring out the dirty clothes for all the blue presidents too? Because I can and I will. I have no problem with that. I mean, I have a problem with that in the sense that I wish they didn't. But yeah, pretty much everybody who's been in that house has been a goofbag, except for perhaps, this one gentleman who was basically too nice to be a president. And instead he lived to be 98 years old, building houses for the poor and becoming a international diplomat that has probably, stopped many wars from happening. And that's about the only, it's probably the only one that maybe might not have pissed me off. But then again, I was 7 when he got voted out of office. So what do I know at 7? And you like Jack Layton a lot, but he died before he could win. Got it. There you go. And let's see here. Pacola T. Yes. Have another Big Mac, dear, she whispers while crossing her fingers behind her back. Exactly, Mr. and Mrs. Aloha Friday. Jimmy Carter. He seems like he was at least trying to be a good human being. Whereas all of the rest of the people in that office really didn't seem to put much effort into being a good human being. Then again, I'm not so sure a good human being should be the president of the United States. I don't think that's a match. That's just not a good match. In order to have that, but that's just that's just me being a huge cynic. And Shock, we've only had one president who's been so deliberately and viciously cruel. There is that. I'm certainly not saying that Obama is the same level of awfulness as other folks have been. And let's see here. I really don't like how we are skirting along some awful territory here. So let's see here. So instead, what we're gonna do now is switch the flipping gears completely, and I'm gonna share this little video with you because honestly I had no idea. And yeah, guys, this probably isn't something that affects you too much, but then again it might. So check this out, you guys.
You can see that Lululemon logo because of metallic threading, and that's actually the reason you should never wear Lululemon pants while getting an MRI. Many Lululemon leggings, such as the sculpting, compression, and infrared lines, contain metal. They might contain metallic threading or anti-odor technology with conductive fibers like silver or other metallic material. And these metals aren't always obvious, but they can heat up during an MRI, and yes, this can burn your skin. Here's one example I found online of someone that got an MRI with joggers on, but was unaware there was some metal on the side. You can see that distortion there, that's where the metal was. This metal in the inseam was enough to cause burns to the area. I'm not going to show it now or else this video might get flagged. The lesson is, just to be safe, always change into the hospital gown for MRI scans unless told otherwise. Better safe than sorry.
Oops, I think I stopped that a little early, but the long and the short of it is, Lululemons, yes, okay, Terry, like I said, this might not apply to guys, but it kind of actually does, and here's the deal. Lululemon isn't the only brand that does this. A lot of athletic leisure brands, have in their material, let's see, anything that's like a considered a sports material, the kind of stuff that like it's still synthetic, but it breathes easier. It breathes a lot. They have a tendency to get whatever that material, well, even like polyester, synthetics have a tendency to hold on to smell, and so they found that with these athleisure materials, you need a special detergent, really, in order to get the smell out. Or what some brands choose to do is they choose to weave these metallic threads, these silver metallic threads that works as an antimicrobial, and it helps kill the bacteria so it doesn't, your armpits don't stink. Well, or your wherever doesn't stink. And that kind of, if you wear Under Armour brand stuff, that's stuff that's generally male oriented. Lululemon, Under Armour, wow, that was hard to say. A lot of different materials have these metallics in it. So to me, like, if I was going to get an MRI, I absolutely, until now, by the way, I absolutely would choose to wear stretch pants and a bra, which also has spandex in it, and, a t-shirt. Well, two of those three things could be problematic in an MRI. And not even an underwire bra, which would definitely be problematic. So, and the hooks also problematic. So yeah, MRIs, it never occurred to me until that particular little blurb that crossed my feed. There's metal in some fabrics. And so, yeah, you really need to double check your, I was going to say your ingredients list on your clothes. The fabric list, not the ingredients list for your clothes. You don't have the black tag. Apparently, you really need to check that to make sure that you're not full of metal fibers, because otherwise you might get the shock of your life, literally. And you got some no-show bamboo socks the other day. I love them. Bamboo undies are supposed to be good too. Right, see, there you go. I'm assuming the bamboo probably does not have the metal in it. But yeah, apparently when it comes to MRIs, it's best if you just wear, cotton, all natural fabrics. But here's the deal. And now I'm actually like, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, well, what would you wear to an MRI? Because all of my clothes, now that I think about it, have either spandex, stretchy material in it, and or like metal rivets or zippers or metal zippers on it. And if you wear your Levi's, button down fly Levi's, you better believe that MRI is not going to be happy with you. And so Pecola T, best to just wear that fashionable paper gown they provide. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm going to have to do because I don't think I've got anything that's MRI friendly. I don't have a pair of cotton pants that have no stretch in them. Fat girls have stretch pants, period, end of story. Even if they're jeans, they're still they're still stretchy. So yeah, the gown that they give you, yeah, I guess that's what I would wear. I would have to, I guess that's what I would wear. I've never had an MRI, so I didn't know that they gave you a gown until right now, but I guess that makes sense that they would, because good Lord, it sounds like, MRIs could be dangerous otherwise. And Darlene saying, yeah, my doctor's orders, well, one part of the writers with my skin was no athletic type wear. I didn't know why, but this was probably it. Yeah, exactly. Because when they said Lululemon, that's just because that's one of the most popular brands. With the amount of shapewear fabric that's around today, the other, butt lifting, and the antimicrobial, anti-stink stuff, there's a lot of stuff besides Lululemon that have those metal strands in them. And let's see here, Mama Shan. Oh, remember the made up word thing? Heard this today. A flamboyance of flamingos, and had to remember to tell you all that. Oh, a flamboyance of flamingos. I like it. I like it. Speaking of flamingos, did you know that okay, not everybody, but some people, when there's a swinger, they like to share partner swap. In order to advertise that they are swingers, they will put flamingos in their front yard, or they'll wear a flamingo pin. Similarly, if you go to a home that has an upside down pineapple on the porch, yeah, they be getting down a lot of that. And so if you notice as you're walking your daily walk that this fun tropical house has nothing but flamingos and pineapples in its front yard, my best guess is, yeah, if you got flamingos and upside down pineapples, that ain't no coincidence. So if you're looking for a swinging hot spot, great nightlife with a swinging hot spot, look for the flamingos and the upside down pineapples. Like I said, the flamingos by themselves aren't always an indication. But if you see them paired with upside down pineapples in particular, that is an undeniable sign. The flamingos, though, generally, first off, the pineapples are generally true in the home atmosphere. The flamingos started out in the camping scene. So for elderly people who are swingers, retired people who are swingers, who are like RV, fifth wheel camper, if they set up their little space and then put flamingos down in front of their camper, visit them if you want, but you might be invited inside with ideas and thoughts beyond the cocktails they're offering you inside. So now you know. All right, we are 3 minutes past the bottom of the hour. I knew we were going to go a little bit late, but I had to let you know about the flamingos. Wrinkled flamingos? No, they're just regular flamingos. I mean, the people in the RV might be wrinkled, but the flamingos, they're regular. Flamingos, huh? Who would have thought? Now I know I'm going to have to feed this one to one of my particular daughter just to see what kind of reaction I get. Oh my goodness, because if she has flamingos in her yard, then I didn't mean to out her. And let's see here, YouTube, Mama Sean, as something about pom-poms of different colors on the golf cart in Retirement Cuties was like that too. Yes, exactly. If you see flamingos and pineapples in a retirement community, 1,140 million%, they are down. They're down to clown. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys. So I'm glad that we got off of our little angriness and start talking about funny things. And so, yeah, call first. Exactly. Call first. I'm so glad we got to hang out today. Hopefully we will see each other. Okay, wait. So today's Wednesday. All right. So, oh my goodness. Didn't even mention this. Okay. Today is Wednesday, which means the next time we're going to see each other is Wednesday. Wait, what? Yeah. I'm taking this Saturday and this Sunday off. This weekend will be statter free. No movies, no chatteries. So what you guys need to do is you need to go to your hobby store. You need to go buy some flamingos, buy some colored yarn, make the appropriate colored pom-poms. No, don't. Well, do that if you want. I'm kidding. Do whatever you want this weekend. It can include flamingos and pineapples if you want, or not. I will probably not be doing anything with flamingos or pineapples. So, yeah, you got to worry about gang colors and pom-pom colors. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. And okay, Darlene, for sure, tell Rick about this conversation. I'm so sorry he couldn't be here, but I'm sure he is up doing things exactly what he needs to be doing them. Okay, you guys, it'll be a week. It'll be a long week, I'm sure. Hopefully we'll see each other next Wednesday. And actually, hopefully we'll see each other later tonight on Photoluke Hawaii in about an hour. And hopefully we'll also see each other if Andy Bumatai streams again, because he streamed last night. So I don't know when or what his schedule is going to be. I do know that it is a little bit late for most mainlanders. I think it was like 10:30, 11 when he came on last night. But he is here. So, yeah. So hopefully you'll get notified when he is on next. Okay. Yeah. Everybody have a great, great weekend. And, let's see here. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Aloha, I'm so glad that this day, as difficult as it started out, got a little bit better. Aloha, much love to everybody, and hopefully, like I said, we'll see each other before next Wednesday, but if not, hopefully we'll see each other on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Usual places.